Penguin Random House presents Day-to-Day Economics by Satish Deodhar, read by Mayur Suvarna. Preface. Quite a few reasons prompted me to write this book. On various occasions, when friends, family folk, and acquaintances come to know that I teach economics, invariably their immediate reaction is a sense of spatial and mental estrangement. Perhaps this happens with most economists, for economics has got a reputation of being an esoteric social science which doesn't have much in common with real life. Nothing can be further from the truth, and it has been my dream to prove it. Hence, the character of this book has been shaped by missionary zeal to convert. At the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, IIMA, economics is taught in the short-duration executive programs in management and in the postgraduate programs in management. However, we often find that conveying and understanding theoretical concepts and relating them to the Indian economy in a short period of time is a very challenging task, both for the faculty and the participants in the programs. Therefore, the subject needs to be tackled with a different approach, and the interrelationships between the economic institutions and the economic phenomena that pervade our lives need to be taught by using lots of everyday examples. This book addresses that need. There have been quite a few teachers and colleagues who have had an influence in shaping the direction of my academic career. They include high school teachers like Bhalirao sir, who aroused my curiosity in economics by teaching Ghatya Upabhokta Che Siddhanta, or the law of diminishing marginal utility, and Datar sir, who used to bring models to the classroom to show celestial phenomena such as eclipses and the phases of the moon. At the Gokhale Institute of Politics and Economics, Pune, Mrs. Sulabha Sidhe took the fear of English out of my psyche, and Professor Neelkanta Rath gave a solid grounding in economics. At the Ohio State University, my PhD guide, Professor Ian Sheldon, brought discipline into my academic writing. Later, when I entered IIMA as a complete stranger, colleagues such as Professors Sasi Mishra, Gopal Naik, Devanath Tirupati, Ravindra Dholakia, and Samar Datta influenced my academic progress. Finally, IIMA directors gave me the opportunities to serve as warden, PhD admissions chairperson, first convener of the computerized common admission test, the CAT, and chairperson of PGPX program. This book is a tribute to all of them. Acknowledgements. In the course of writing this book, I have received warm support from 10 people. It is my pleasure to thank them on this page. The process of writing a book needs a catalyst to initiate the process. Professor Samir Barua, in his capacity as director of IIMA, played that role when he introduced me to Chiki Sarkar of Random House. Subsequently, Chiki and I sat down to chalk out the plan of the book. Her suggestions on the chapter scheme and writing style which would appeal to a reader with no economics background were very helpful. When about a third of the book was completed, she left Random House, and I too got quite involved in teaching, EQUIS accreditation work, and the administrative chores of a PGPX chairperson. The spirit of writing almost flagged, and that is when Milli Ashwarya brought in encouragement at a critical moment of despondency. In the concluding stages, Radhika Marva helped me to complete the book. Meena Bhende refined the writing with her copy editing, and Avinash Jai Singh designed a wonderful cover. My sincere thanks to all 6 of them. Amey Sapre, my good-natured research associate, did everything that was foisted on him, which included collection of data, vital statistics, and referencing. Special thanks to him for his support. And how can I forget my immediate family? As if being an immaculate homemaker and simultaneously pursuing a master's degree in Indian classical music were not difficult enough, my wife, Deepali, willingly took over many of my household responsibilities as I began sprinting towards the completion of this book. Saili, my 10th grader daughter, would be fully justified in complaining of my unavailability for clarifying her doubts during her crucial board exam year. However, she showed a heightened sense of maturity and patience by waiting for mutually opportune spare time. My son Yash too missed out on a few cricket duels in our backyard and on listening to a story or two at bedtime. But he never grumbled. Dipali, Saili and Yash, thanks for accommodating me. Introduction. If there's a book you really want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. Toni Morrison. Have you been wondering why food prices have skyrocketed in the past few years? When you were planning to secure a loan to buy a car, a home, or a piece of machinery for your business, didn't your friends or business colleagues tell you to wait, for interest rates on loans were expected to fall? And, till only a few years ago, industries were laying off workers the world over. India was no exception. Did you wonder why some of your acquaintances who had just graduated then were finding it difficult to get a job with a decent remuneration? And later, even when things began to look much better for you and your acquaintances, you may still have occasionally asked yourself while waiting at a traffic light, why does a kid in ragged clothes still have to knock on your car window and beg you to buy balloons for a pittance? In one's role as a homemaker or a breadwinner, a student or a professional, a business person or an employee, one seeks answers to these and many other economic questions. If you are one such person with an inquiring mind, this book is for you. You will find it interesting because it discusses the economic environment that is so intricately linked with the managing of everyday business decisions, both of households and firms. The term economics comes from the ancient Greek word oikonomia. Oikos, house, plus nomos, custom or law, meaning rules or management of a household. One finds references to these words in the Socratic dialogue on household management and agriculture. Another reference is attributed to Aristotle's work titled Oikonomikos. About the same time, that is, circa 327 BCE, the Indian statesman Kautilya also wrote a treatise, Arthashastra, in which he describes economics as the basis for attaining material goods and spiritual good. However, economics in its modern form attained visibility when Adam Smith wrote his famous treatise, An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations, in 1776. Since then, economics has evolved into an analytical modern social science with applications in practically all spheres of life. One of the branches of economics that focuses on individual economic decisions of households and firms is called microeconomics. Another, which focuses on understanding the changes in the aggregate business environment, is called macroeconomics. The development and importance of this social science was firmly recognized when the Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences was instituted in 1968. Despite the progress made in economics, a few people still perceive it as a dismal science. To paraphrase Paul Krugman, the winner of the Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences in 2008, those who plan to go into business often major in economics, but only a few believe that what they learn in economics will help them run a business. One of the reasons for this bleak impression is the expectation and the misconception that economics equips one with immediate, direct, hands-on tools to run a business. The reality is that the principles of microeconomics form the basis for developing concepts in consumer and business-related subjects such as finance, marketing, banking, governance, and others. The second reason is that students of economics often ignore the fact that macroeconomics equips one with a sound understanding of the economic environment in which a consumer or a business operates. Perhaps the importance of knowing the business environment is understood years after leaving college, for only then does one begin to make serious economic decisions, personal or professional. Finally, of course, it also matters whether or not economics is made interesting in the classroom by relating it to market institutions and the environment in which a consumer or a business operates. Though there are exceptions, more often than not, the application part tends to get ignored. If there's a book you really want to read, but it...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?